Yo, what's up? Welcome to another build guide. So, Witch just gets Fireball at the start of the game, right? But there is not much actually Fireball builds out there. So one of my friends was like, hey, I want a Fireball Witch build because that is what the game offers. And Fireball also looks cool, so let's do a Fireball build. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna do an Elementalist build, but not Ignite. Because Ignite builds are mostly weaker compared to all of the other builds, and most of them are super boring. So that's why I was like, okay, I'm gonna do a mapping Fireball build, because that is what Elementalist deserves, unfortunately. She is actually a weaker character, in my opinion. If you want a solid, tankier self-cast build, obviously go for an Inquisitor. I have two solid guides in my channel, all content builds, so go and check those. So this is going to be a Fireball mapping Witch character. You can still kill Guardians, Conquerors, those kind of regular bosses. Sirus. I actually killed Sirus on a 5 link because I didn't have the correct gem setup. So yeah, you can do all of those. So he also said my budget is 30 Exalt. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna do a cheaper one. Then I'm also gonna use a Headhunter or also Delirium farming. I was like, I wanted to test Delirium farming, and it actually worked with this character. This character is normally not even tank. It is a Badge of Brother build. That means that she highly relies on elusive, avoid damage taken, elusive effect scaling, let's say. My resistances are just regular 75 resistances. I have positive chaos resist because I also farmed beyond content. So double beyond, triple beyond, 60% Delirious. That is what I tried. Maybe you can also do 80%, but I'm not sure about 100%. But 60% was enough with Headhunter, obviously. So if you cannot afford a Headhunter, you can easily farm regular maps, beyond maps, maybe 20% Delirium. I don't know. But if you want to do hard maps all the time, especially Delirious content, obviously you should afford a Headhunter before that. So yeah, that is about the intro. So this build, this character is actually really easy to build. 2, 4, 5, 7 of my items are uniques. So let's just start first, maybe explaining the skill, how it works. I don't know. So Fireball is a projectile skill. So you need to actually shoot a couple of those if you want. Obviously better clear. Also maybe chain, fork, those kind of projectile enhancing, abilities. All right. So I used pinpoint support, which actually lets you shoot, I believe, 3 additional projectiles, but once you stand still and keep shooting, you actually shoot 1 less each time you cast, and eventually you will cast 1 projectile like you don't even have that support, but you actually deal more damage per stack, because with pinpoint you actually can generate intensity stacks, which provides more projectile damage, huge DPS. So if you just shoot, move, shoot, blink, shoot, move, play like that, you will always shoot 3 projectiles plus Dying Sun. So total 6 projectiles, I believe, while mapping. So yeah, just keep moving. Maybe use your flame dash because it actually, I believe, resets the stacks. I'm trying to read that right now in the game, but in the path of building, but I cannot find. Yeah, or immediately if you teleport. Yeah, it says supported spells lose 1 intensity every point 25 seconds. So it actually takes like 1 second if you keep moving, or immediately if you teleport. It says that on pinpoint. So make sure you do that. That is how I got more projectiles without losing any DPS actually. You can also use maybe a GMP support, but it will actually destroy your DPS anyways. For projectile enhancing abilities, let's say, you can obviously go for chain or fork. Unfortunately, additional projectiles are not enough on their own. That's why I'm also using a fork support. Awaken fork is super cheap because no one technically used it. That's why I just bought one. Fork basically makes your projectiles split into 2, let's say, if I try to explain how it goes. It is not like chain, unfortunately, but for Fireball, because Fireball also has explosion once it stops doing whatever it is doing, it also has an explosion that also deals AoE damage. So if it forks, actually, especially if you do maybe close layout maps, you will notice lots of explosions going on. You can even shotgun bosses, by the way. This is one of the few skills in the game that can actually shotgun. So if you are at a maybe boss, try to position yourself and the boss near a wall maybe, and just shoot the wall, you know, near the wall. You can actually do that and just overlap those explosions. So yeah, that is something that you can maybe try. So pinpoint plus Awaken fork. Regular fork also works, but again, Awaken fork is super cheap and it lets your projectiles fork one additional time, which is huge actually. So this is how to achieve good clear speed. If you want to maybe do, you know, Conqueror, Sirus, some basic bosses, you should swap fork with slower projectiles. They are both green gems, so it will be easy. I actually didn't have slower projectiles, that's why I killed Sirus on a 5 link. Because I forgot to take to buy the gem, let's say. Other items and gems and items at the same time, let's say. So this is a Devouring Diadem helmet. I use this a lot because it is simply overpowered in my opinion, especially for this kind of spell builds. So this helmet provides Eldritch Battery Keystone, so you can actually spend Energy Shield instead of mana and reserve all of your mana. Because Energy Shield also has a recharge, which helps you to recover it while mapping and other occasions, let's say. This helmet also has trigger level 15 Feast of Flesh every 5 seconds, which will consume nearby corpses and recover your life, energy shield, and I believe also mana, but because we don't use mana, I don't notice it. So you can actually refill that energy shield, let's say, easily. Even without recharge, you will also get those instant recovers from time to time. But if you are also playing with a headhunter, you will always steal some energy shield buffs, let's say. It is impossible to run out of energy shield. So this is how to solve that problem. My character has more than 1000 energy shield. I'm just checking my items right now. Some of the uniques already provides it. And I believe I'm also using a discipline, yeah. You can play without discipline, but it actually lowers your obviously energy shield pool and also recharge rate, because discipline aura actually provides 30% increased energy shield recharge rate. So if you want to be more comfortable, consider using discipline. If you think you are fine, I actually haven't tried not using discipline with headhunter. Maybe if you have headhunter, you don't need discipline, because I initially started this build without headhunter and only using one Inspired Learning Jewel, which is a mini headhunter for the budget option, let's say. So yeah, that is about that discipline. So try that in the end, maybe you don't even need it. Other auras, Zealotry for spell damage, Determination for armor, Herald of Ash for more clear, and also some extra spell fire damage. These are all in our helmet, because Devouring Diadem has 25% increased reservation efficiency. So that is how to use that. This is a power charge stacking build, that's why try to get Devouring Diadem with a corruption, maximum power charges, if you want to min-max the build. So that they are normally super cheap, no one uses those for some reason, I don't know. My helmet doesn't even have helmet enchant, because this was a mapping character. I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to pay extra for a labyrinth service provider. You can maybe also get maybe a fireball enchant or something else that you can think of. If you also use discipline and, you know, achieve some good energy shield, you can also make a divine blessing setup with increased duration for longer duration. With I picked anger aura. So this is another DPS aura. While mapping, you most of the time forgot to actually press this. So you can skip this entirely, because this is a 4-link setup. But if you bother pressing it, if you have enough inner shield, you can also use this, and it actually activates almost 20 seconds anger, you know, a temporary anger aura. So that is for some additional DPS. I also have Arcanist brand setup for Flame Wall and Wave of Conviction for exposure, because while mapping I'm actually using Asenat glows for explosion. That is how to achieve good clear speed. I highly suggest you, because actually it makes huge difference on fireball. Clears really well combined with the explosion. That's why on the map boss I also want that exposure. If you use a rare glows, you can obviously put exposure on the implicit by using the new influence orbs, Searing Exarch and Eater of Worlds. So normally you don't need that. Maybe if you do gloves swap for big bosses, you also need to use another curse, which is probably gonna be Assassin Mark curse, because gloves normally apply temporal chains. That is your curse normally. So if you also want to maybe invest into more DPS or curses, Consider getting +1 curse on the talent tree, or maybe anoint it, I don't know. But that shouldn't be ideal, because we are actually anointing a power charge. So yeah, normally your only curse is temporal chains. So yeah, consider swapping it with assassin mark if you use a rare gloves on bosses, maybe if you want to do that swap. If you do mapping mostly, you don't even need another gloves, obviously. So yeah, that is about that. This is an elementalist, so I picked a couple of golems. Stone golem for regeneration, that is very important. Lightning golem for cast speed. I also picked ice golem because this is a crit build. If you want to be tankier, if you also have headhunter, you don't even need it. If you are playing without headhunter, maybe you can also use chaos golem instead of ice golem, because chaos golem provides lots of physical mitigation. Rest of the stuff is just usual. I'm not gonna even mention those. So these were the gems and some of the items. Let's just finish rest of the items. This is a power charge stacking build because that is the cheapest way to play a spell build in my opinion. You can also play maybe Omniscience, but because it is probably gonna get nerfed, I'm not playing Omniscience builds these days. So dual void batteries, these are like 30 chaos. The good ones are almost 1 exalt if you want to go for the highest cast speed and also maybe some crit strike at the same time. Consider enchanting these with elemental damage per quality, or maybe area of effect, because that helps for fireball. But my wands have elemental damage, so I don't even need that extra clear. Fork and explosion already enough. So you want to stack power charges so you can actually get lots of spell damage per power charge. So that's why devouring the Adam with corruption actually helps. And the other way, all that, let's also mention body armor and amulet at the same time. Badge of Brotherhood. Where's that? Your maximum frenzy charge is equal to your maximum power charges. So let's say if you can generate 9 power charges, you can also generate 9 frenzy charges. Or if you can generate 6 power charges, you can also generate 6 frenzy charges. That is what that means. But this amulet actually doesn't let you generate frenzy charges. So because of that, we are using Farul's Fury. This is once the league is a couple of weeks in, let's say. Cheap body armor. 6 links are like 3-4 exalt, maybe 5 exalt at most, which is like a regular price for most items anyways. So this just lets you generate frenzy and power charge at the same time once you have that cat buff. So you want to craft aspect of cat on one of your items. I picked an unset ring, so I can also put less duration so the buffs can actually cycle faster. So I highly suggest you to get an unset ring, or you can just put this on in your maybe boots, because all of the other pieces are uniques. Also the belt is rare if you don't have a headhunter, so the character actually uses 3 rare items total. So aspect of cat, the build needs some dexterity, so you should definitely put that on your ring, life, and any other stats that you can fit. I actually crafted this with essence, dexterity essence, and used some annulments or some open suffix, those kind of stuff. Put aspect of cat, that was it. You can do that, yeah. What else? So yeah, because Badge of Brotherhood also have some elusive effect, we also want to get benefit from that, and because this is also a mapping character, we want to be fast anyways. That's why we want to use a good boots for more movement speed and also elusive, those kind of stuff at the same time. So this is gonna be your highest expense, let's say, you know, your most expensive item if you don't have a headhunter. Elusive on crit and tailwind on crit. You can skip tailwind at first, get elusive, some movement speed, you know, life, those kind of stuff on your boots, because we definitely want to get benefit from that amulet's elusive effect. So that way you can actually be tankier, because elusive provides movement speed and also avoid damage taken from hits. That is actually like the pre-nerf dodge mechanic. So that's why you can actually dodge stuff. Yeah, let's say that is actually what elusive does. If you can also afford it, you can also get a tailwind at the same time, which is a double influence item. The good ones are easily around 15, even 20 exalt. So that's why this is gonna be your luxury item. But just start with elusive. Once you farm your currency, maybe get also tailwind at the same time. Tailwind obviously provides action speed, that means movement speed and cast speed for this build. Another luxury item, you don't need this because this is a mapping character anyways. This just provides like 1.5 million DPS, I believe. It is not even needed, but if you can find or afford one, A power charge ring, but you will say those are like at least 100 exalt, not a rare ring, obviously. Unique rings. Unique rings just start from 10 exalt most of the times. I bought this for 15 exalt. Power charge on a Circle of Anguish, because it also provides fire damage while affected by Herald of Ash. The second one was shit actually, +1 max fire resist, that's why it was cheap. The good ones are obviously again at least 50, 70 exalt, I don't know. So unique rings are actually cheaper. Rare power charge rings are at least 100 exalt, that's why I didn't want that. I just searched for power charge ring, you know. My friend had 30 exalt budget, but I obviously had some extra currency. I just wanted to buy something for him. I just searched for power charge ring on a Circle of Anguish because that is the herald we are using. The other circle rings obviously boost other herald skills. So I just wanted Herald of Ash, search for Circle of Anguish, maximum power charges. I saw like 10 results. Cheapest one was 10 exalt, it was not good. And I found this for 15 exalt and I just immediately bought it. So that is it. Obviously these can be super expensive normally, maybe I was lucky. So maybe if you want to invest further into this build, if you really enjoy it, having more power charges actually helps a lot. But because this is a mapping character and if you can also afford a headhunter, you definitely do not need this ring. Just use another ring for more resistance, life, maybe dexterity if you still need, because normally this character uses like 3 rare items. It is a little hard to cap your resist, those kind of stuff. But again, if you also have a headhunter, while I was recording some clips with headhunter, I obviously swapped my belt and final item belt. As you see, my belt actually provides 2 resistances. Once I equip headhunter, I don't have capped resistances. That is actually how I played. If you have a headhunter, you don't need to cap your resistances. That is what headhunter does. Once you steal a couple of buffs, you will just have overcapped resists anyways. So if you have a headhunter, do not try to cap your resist. Just stop at 50% or something maybe. Or you can also consider using Alira as bandit choice. My bandit was obviously 2 passives. That is what I use on most of my builds, because passive points in my opinion are better once you can figure those resistances actually. If you want to play with 1 inspired learning and also play with a rare belt, obviously life resists, obviously higher energy shield pool helps. That's why I picked a crystal belt with energy shield. And finally, on maybe single targets, which you don't do much on this build, on suffixes you can put regenerate energy shield per second while a rare or unique enemy is nearby. That is how to regenerate, you know, recharge, whatever, your energy shield faster. But you don't need that for mapping. So just get a belt with the other stats, obviously. That's it about the equipment. Again, most of the pieces are uniques and easy to acquire. Normally this build shouldn't cost, if you also buy a good boots, let's say, it should cost around 50 exalt at most, maybe 40 exalt, and is a really good mapper. With headhunter, obviously it goes up in price. So I'm just gonna explain a couple of things in path of building, show you the inspired learning, because if you haven't played with it, maybe you don't know how to use it. So inspired learning jewel. This is a jewel that steals a modifier from rare monster once you kill it. This is a mini headhunter. If you cannot afford the headhunter, you can obviously use this. I highly suggest you to use at least one of these. Even with the headhunter, you can still use this. That is what I did, because they actually stack. That is stupid. So yeah, you need at least 4 notables in the radius allocated. So you need to actually get those notables. So Fate and Steel. I just picked this for resist. Overcharge, maximum power charge, we obviously need this. Endurance charge. And also Devotion for life. Actually, there is not another notable in this radius. So this was probably the this was a cost efficient part of the 3, let's say, because you already get overcharge and devotion, and this is also 1 point away. So it actually costed me 3 extra points for this jewel to work. So yeah, other jewels. So I will explain this. Rolling Flames. You obviously need Corrupted Blood if you want to be tankier. So this jewel is super cheap, no one uses it. So that's why you should probably get one. This was like 5 chaos, no one plays Fireball. So with at least 40 intelligence in radius, obviously this is a location, so it will work. Fireball has plus chance to inflict Scorch. So Scorch is a alternative debuff that fire skills can do. So this actually blocks your fireball from igniting, which you don't even need. because Ignite is pretty much useless if you are not an Ignite build. So Scorch actually lowers the enemy's resistances. That's why you should also edit that here. So this is for more DPS. For like a 5 chaos jewel, maybe 10 chaos, alright, with corrupt blood, you actually get lots of DPS, so you definitely use this. What else? Let's just check. A random jewel for Dex, crit multiplier, life. This is obviously a crit build, so crit multiplier is your #1 stat. Do not go for lots of cast speed because it actually burns your energy shield faster. You don't want that. Just go for crit multiplier. A couple of clusters. If you want to keep your resistances, you can get these kind of stuff. You don't even need the passives. I just searched for some resistances on, as you can also see, this is like 11 passive skills. I didn't even search for the passive number. So these are like, 50 chaos under Exile. No one uses these. So just search for spell damage, fire damage, elemental damage. Just type count at least 1, something like that, on those bases. And just type maybe all resist, whatever you need, maybe increase effect. So each point actually provides huge resistances. That is how I kept my resistances easier, because I'm only using 3 rare items. So yeah, even without the belt, I am not kept. So again, I played with unkept resistances while I'm using a headhunter actually. This was my resistances with headhunter, because headhunter just steals resistances. You don't even need to keep it. So yeah, just same stuff. For the medium jewels, obvious choices for projectile builds. Repeater, Streamline, this is very good for mapping. Streamline, Pro Speed, Pro Damage. Repeater, Pro Damage, and Cast Speed. You can also get maybe crit, if you still need more crit. Maybe this was my crit with flasks and everything. Basic of pain and what is that? Pressure points, that is also good. But I just wanted to be faster. I wanted my projectiles to be faster. That's why I picked a projectile base. For Watcher's Eye, this is a non-meta double Watcher's Eye because these are the auras that I'm using. This was like 3 Exalt, because no one uses these kind of combinations. No one plays fire self-cast skills, unfortunately. But that is good for us because this was super cheap. You should probably get some fire damage or anger crit multiplier alone. That should maybe provide even more DPS. I just wanted more cast speed. I thought that it would be nice. That's why I searched for these kind of combinations, and this was like 2-3 Exalt something, and I just bought it immediately. But again, just get a Watcher's Eye with anger multiplier that goes up to 50%, which is huge, and should probably be around 50 chaos, maybe under an Exalt, I don't know, because that is a 1 modifier. And the fire Watcher's Eye. Fire Watcher's Eye are super cheap. I needed Leech, obviously, but that's why I picked a Megalomaniac with Dorian Lesson. You can also get a large cluster with Dorian Lesson, so that is something that you can do. I actually forgot to get Leech, I just finished the build and I was like, I completely forgot about Leech. That's why I just squeezed in a Dorian Lesson Megalomaniac, searched for some random stuff and just bought this. Yeah, this also lets you reserve more. I believe we also need this, yeah. If you need more reservation, if you cannot find a similar, you will obviously get a large cluster with Dorian Lesson, because that is normally what you need to do. I simply forgot about it. Or you can get, let's just check if I skipped any reservation notables. Probably no. Let's just check this. I actually found something. What? How is this even possible? By the way, this should work. I don't know why it gave negative. Because 0 mana is actually fine. You don't need mana to play this build. So yeah, you should definitely fix that mana issue if you cannot get a similar Megalomaniac, maybe, if you cannot get also Dorian Lesson on your large cluster. But here is something else. Again, my helmet didn't have enchant. Just give your helmet to a Labyrinth Sirus provider. Ask for any aura that we are using, Zealotry, Determination, I don't know, something, and that should actually fix your issue, simple as that. And that's it about the guide, I believe. Where is my Anima Stone? I also have Anima Stone that is for +1 golem. Yeah, +1 golem here. Normally your golem limit is 1, obviously, so that makes 2 golems, and also Elementalist provides additional 1, so 3 golems. Yeah, that was my limit. I got this for reflect maps and also some mitigation, because this provides an Aegis that blocks, mitigates elemental damage. If you maybe don't need that, I don't know, you can also go like this. For one more golem and some effect for more DPS. But I wanted to be tankier. That is how I played. This was the usual route. Anyways, you definitely need these 4 points because this is what makes Elementalist strong. Other notables, most of the notables are simply useless for this build, in my opinion. That was it. Thanks for watching. I have a couple of more guides coming soon before the league ends. If I don't upload this video last, I don't know. Sometimes I just mess the upload order. You can join my Discord if you want to chat with me and other players. And consider becoming a Patreon member if you want to support the channel. I will see you later. Bye bye.